Yet another call recording from Dani Williamson. I'm going to ring up Tendring District Council and I'm going to make a suggestion and ask them as to why they haven't reported it to reported them being misinformed by the Mirror. It's completely insane. So I'm going to ring them again. I find this absolutely hilarious, to be honest. Not the fact that I do not find 26 quid for an elderly person to fall as a charge is funny, but I find this whole thing funny because I'm gonna turn the tables. What the media does, guys, is turns people against one another because of fact of opinion. So what I'm doing is I'm going to turn the authorities against the press. On hold. I was put through instantly the first time. I hate that when that does that. Because I always think I'm going to go through to someone and I have to stop what I'm saying. Basically what it is I was reading this article in the paper about this situation with your £26 for elderly people falling over. And I spoke to somebody earlier and they were saying that it was misreported, but I've just spoke to the Mirror and they've said no, they've never heard nothing. They haven't heard anything from yous.
If you'd like to speak to our press officer, I can put you through. One moment.
All right, cheers.
He's on another call at the moment. Do you wish to hold?
Yeah, that's cool. That's no problem.
Okay. Alternatively, if you want to ring on Monday, you can speak to Mr. Westall, who is the manager in charge of that service. He'll be happy to talk to you and discuss it.
I may very well do on Monday, but the thing is, I mean, it's quite a pressing matter, I think. Especially
when... If you'd like to hold for Mr. Brown, I'll put you through when he's free.
Alright, no worries. Thanks for interrupting. Strange. My mobile's ringing with a missed call from District Council. It's nuts. They've used my number. Oh dear. Oh great, cheers. Hiya, what it is basically, I was just reading this article on the internet about your council. What is actually happening? Because I've been told by one of your customer service advisors that obviously this was misinformed and mispublished. So I've gone, all right, I'll go and check my facts. So I've gone on to the Mirror, and they've said they haven't heard from yous. They haven't heard any sort of dispute from yous or anything like that to say that this has been misprinted or misread or misinformed.
They actually didn't do us the courtesy of coming to us first, and they'd already printed before they even asked us.
But to be fair, don't you think that's in the public interest, and that elderly people will be in charge?
I can give you the press release that I put out to everybody. If they haven't got it, I'll be very surprised, but I'm happy to send it to you. It went out yesterday.
Right. See, the thing is,
I don't. Your name?
No, you can't have my name. I'm not legally obliged to give you my name. The point.
Oh, okay. I was only asking so that I could send you the press release.
Well, the thing is, see, a conversation works two ways, where one person talks and the other person talks. See, the thing is, what I find very strange about this is it does breach human rights legislation. It's actually potentially unlawful. So, I mean, these people have worked all their lives and they do deserve some common courtesy as well. And you guys haven't done the decency on doing that by imposing a charge for them falling. That's completely insane.
Okay, can I just start off by saying we haven't even imposed the charges yet?
No, that's not the point though. You're proposing to, and even if, see, the thing is, I'm a bit of a human rights activist. I know what I'm talking about, yeah? The Human Rights Act actually says in Section 7 that the person could actually take legal proceedings if they act or propose to act. If you don't believe me, I think you need to...
I believe what you're saying, I promise you.
Okay, well, the thing is, I find it absolutely disgraceful, and the Equality Act comes into this as well, and you guys can't argue with that. It's just
Okay.
completely
I'm not trying
insane.
to. Can I just explain?
No,
The
you
person.
can't explain. It's complete.
Okay.
You're held to accountability,
Yes.
and the council are as well, and they're also held to transparency.
Yes.
It's just shocking how can a council impose a charge? Thank goodness my grandparents don't live in Tendring District. I'm telling you, I would be if it was that my grandparents lived there. I think I would pull them out. It's shocking, absolutely shocking.
Okay. Can I just say, do you know the full facts on the scheme?
I don't need to know the full facts. I've read what I've read, and it does breach so many articles of the European Convention on Human Rights. It's mad.
Can I just ask where you've read it?
It doesn't matter where I read it. The point is that I've read it, and it's against your council. You work for the council, don't you?
I do work for the council.
Exactly. So you're a public officer. It's actually.
I am a public officer.
Yeah.
And that's why I rang you back.
Oh, so you got my number?
I found a missed. I must have called you at the same. Were you just ringing me back?
I was ringing through the customer service actual number. So you took my mobile telephone number. That's a bit rude, isn't it?
No, it comes up on my line of missed calls. I had a missed call from this number. I was trying to ring it back, and you came through.
Right. Okay. See, the point is, what I find very strange is how it's an elderly. An elderly person. What if they were unable to afford that £26? What? So you're going to just leave them there?
Leave them where?
Like if they've fallen.
Yes.
And they can't afford that annual charge of £26. Are you going to leave them there? Are you going to leave them like where they are?
Right. Can I just explain to you the way
Well,
it works? Because
the way it
without being able to explain that, you're not prepared. You know, I've listened to what you've had to say, and I take that on board. But let me just explain how the system works. Up until now,
I know how the system works. I know exactly how it works. It's there to demonise vulnerable people at the end of the day. That's what it's there for at the moment. And
I'm not talking about the system as such. I'm talking about the lifting service that we have proposed.
But it's unlawful. I don't really want to hear it. What I want to hear is how an elderly person, if they can't afford the £26, what you'd have to do, what you'd be willing to do about it. Would you just leave them?
What happens every time somebody falls in a property that's got the care line service we provide is they would normally call our care line operator, and that would be put through to the ambulance service for them to go and sort it out.
Oh, God.
That's the way that always happens, always has done.
But you're willing to charge people for that?
Can I please just explain? And if you want to say exactly the same afterwards, that's fine, but I just need to let you know, up until 2013, every call that our control centre received from the care line service was then put onto the ambulance service. Because the ambulance service prioritises who it can go to, somebody who's fallen over at home but has no other issues other than they've fallen, but they need somebody with expertise to help them back up, the ambulance service would go. But that is not a priority for them if they're called to other incidents such as a car accident or a fire or something. So the person who fell over may have to wait 3 or 4 hours for an ambulance to arrive.
So you're going to charge people for it, so they get
Hold on a second.
Oh my God! It just gets. Sorry, it's so damning. I'm sorry. I'm not willing to listen to another minute of it. To be quite honest, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. So, my grandmother so happened to live in this district, and she was to fall over, and she couldn't afford the charge. Then what happens then?
She would wait for the ambulance.
She would wait for the ambulance.
As is the case now.
So you're basically privatising it. That sounds like a bit of privatisation going on.
No, we're trying to offer a service that would mean they would get picked up quicker than if they had to wait for the ambulance service.
I find that absolutely insane, to be honest.
Can I just say we're not the only authority in the country that does it? There's quite a lot.
Oh, there's quite a lot. Can you name them?
Colchester.
Colchester. Oh, I know. I've got a very good friend, Mr. Smith. He's in Colchester. I might have to pass that information on to him. There's a lot of information going about at the minute, and I think, to be honest, that is absolutely shocking, and it does
That's our
breach.
nearest local authority, and they do the same thing.
But it's shocking. I mean, what if this was your grandmother? What if this was your grandmother being charged? You'd be absolutely disgusted. I tell you, if it was mine and she was still alive, I'd be absolutely.
If it was my grandmother and she was going to have to work possibly 4 or 5 hours for an ambulance, I would pay the extra per month to let her have this service.
To be honest, I would. I'd go round there myself, to be honest, and help her.
Well, I would if I could. What if I'm not within distance to be able to do that? If I lived, say, in Manchester, and my mother was in Tendring, and I couldn't go round to do that, and I knew maybe an ambulance could take several hours to go to her if she fell, if it was a cost of £3 a month extra, which is what it works out to, I would be more than happy for her peace of mind and mine to pay that £3 a month.
But
so somebody would go.
But your grandmother would have paid her taxes all of her life to pay for this. But that's.
But in realism, the alternative I've got is that she then waits for that ambulance.
I don't. That's what the ambulance service is there for, I'm afraid.
I accept that. But in reality, if I know in my mind that she could be lying there for 4 or 5 hours until they can get there, I would prefer that somebody was going to go round immediately, assess her, help her up if that's all she needed, or get onto the ambulance service and say, I'm sorry, it looks like she may have fractured her leg or whatever, because she won't know that when she makes the call.
So you basically say, this is what it sounds like it's saying: pay her or wait a few extra hours, and it could be fatal. This is what the medical service is there for. It sounds like
I understand, but the reality is that's how they prioritise their calls. Now, we can't change what they do, but what we can do is see if we can provide something that would be better than waiting.
And make money out of it as well.
No, we won't make it. It's a cost-neutral service. It will purely pay for what it would take to have a better staff.
I think you need more transparency than that, and actually show the accounts and stuff like that, like what's going in and what's coming out. But I don't. To be honest, that's against these people's human rights. It's an elderly person has gone to work all their lives for 40, 50 years, and I don't think they should have to.
I utterly agree.
Right, so you agree with me. Why is the charge proposed to being imposed?
Wait a minute, hang on. It's not my decision.
I'm not saying it's your decision.
I'm personally saying to you, I agree that somebody who's paid their taxes should get that service. However, if the National Health Service, through the ambulance service, because of the cuts that it had to take on, cannot physically get there within that time because they've been. I mean, it may be that if there are no.
It's because of David Cameron himself. Why don't you take it up with him? Complain to him. Don't charge an elderly person.
We are challenging the amount of money that's coming down to local councils from the government with him and with the government.
Right. Okay.
In the meantime, until that changes, and until they do give any more money, what do we then do? Just say, okay, well,
Well, why don't you have a community-based instead of a not-for-profit, and not charging anybody?
Not for profit.
Well, there needs to be transparency on that, to be honest, and that's what the council is there for accountability and transparency.
There isn't a transparency on it.
Pardon?
Who's saying there isn't a transparency on it?
Believe you me, I have a lot of freedom of information requests that have gone in, and I've found out quite a lot on councils, and they are not very transparent at all.
Okay, but please don't judge this council in terms of transparency. You might judge us on anything you like in terms of this particular service that you don't think is right, but then transparency, if you asked for that information, you would get that information.
See, the thing is, it's just absolutely. I think it's absolutely shocking how somebody can be charged when they're getting. Oh my God, when they've paid taxes all their life, it's just completely insane. I find it absolutely shocking,
Okay.
and if it, I just want to know basically as to why you haven't gone to the Mirror yet and pulled them up about it.
We've been to several newspapers who've printed things.
Okay.
Now, and we have put out a press release that puts our point of view.
Shouldn't you be disputing it with the Mirror? Because to be honest, that's libelous, isn't it? If they what they're saying isn't true.
And I'm not saying we haven't considered that.
So you haven't. But you haven't said you have either. To be honest.
Well,
I can't. I mean, to be honest, I think it's absolutely shocking that somebody is going to be demonised and that's what it looks like from a member of the public's point of view, is that they're being demonised because they're elderly. I mean, come on. I mean, benefit cuts are going left, right, and centre. And I work 2 jobs actually. I mean, I've just managed to get a day off, my first day off in 4 months. But it's not the point. The point is that these people, they deserve a bit better treatment than what they're getting. At £26 is a lot to a pensioner, I think.
I don't dispute that £26 a year can be a lot to some pensioners.
Well, it can be a lot to...
Not necessarily every pensioner. As I've said to you, this service hasn't been brought in. It's something we've looked at, having done a trial over a certain period of time that cost them nothing. We did it for nothing when it was funded by the Clinical Commissioning Group.
Wasn't the Clinical Commission...
To see if it meant that the service users got a better service by us going there quicker than the ambulance could. When that trial came to an end and the funding stopped, that's where we are now, and we're looking at whether it's a service continue at a purely cost basis, no profit, and you know, I have to ask you to accept that.
I'm just shocked. Like, I'm sitting here near enough in tears that an old person. This is like completely shocking. I'm actually sat here in tears at what this is, and believe you me, I think you better expect the human rights activists. I have to go. I'm sorry. Oh my God! Like, I can't believe that. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry. I can't sit there and let that happen. They've done that for free, and then they just charging people, and I really, really hate it. And to be honest, I'm willing to go to Tendring myself and protest against it. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys.